Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be building the UTAV 20-minute interceptor. As you can see here, it's my mic. It's a pretty awesome little vehicle. As you can see, it is really nice and detailed. So we'll give you a little 3D printing rundown, build video, tips here and there, how it works, and so yeah, I don't think there's really anything else to say. So let's get into building. So here is all the parts that we should have printed. This should be everything you need. Everything here is included in the files. So we'll just go through them real quick. We have all 4 wheels. These are printed multicolor. You can print in single color and paint them, or just have single color. Oops, dropped it. Doesn't matter. Oh my gosh, got butterfingers today. But they're pretty cool. Just print 4 of those. You have your spike tool holder. You have your 2 axles here, same thing. You have these mirrors are different. They're the left and right mirrors. Those will fit on here. You have your left and right flaps, and you also have your front spikes and your rear spikes. These I printed in multicolor. You can print them in a single red color, but I just did it in multicolor to get that nice little black ring finish around there. Then you have your body itself. This should print fairly nice. And you have your 2 little tiny white headlight inserts, along with your 2 little airbag pins, your winch, and your bottom and top headlights, little light bars. You have your front window, and then your side windows here that will go on the sides there. Then you have your airbag underbody and your airbag chassis. This will allow the airbags to go up and down, along with the airbag springs. And then finally, you have your little front and rear skirt that goes around the front and back. I just printed these out of PLA, but you can also print them out of TPU if you want them to be flexible and have them sealed to the ground. And then also, the only thing you will need externally from all the files is these stuff right here. You're going to want a nice bottle of super glue, Gorilla Glue. Anything that bonds to plastic will work perfect. We're not going to need a ton of it, but some is required. And you're also going to want some spikes. So here I have, these are metal cocktail sticks you can find on Amazon. This is what ships with all the models and stuff and what I use. They're the exact same diameter as toothpicks, so you can take toothpicks and cut it and get spikes. And I also have just one where it's dull for our spike tool over here. I'll explain how those all go together in the video. But anyways, that should be everything you need. Let's get started building. So the first thing we're going to do is assemble our airbag chassis along with our wheels. So as you can see, we have our underbody along with our chassis. Now the shorter section here, where the front is longer, is considered the front, along with this point here also being pointing towards the front of the vehicle. This is because in UTAV, the front is actually wider than the rear, with the fenders and everything that stick out. So we want the wider one facing forward. So we're going to take that and assemble it, make sure that it fits thoroughly. Now I did say that there was pins. They're actually not necessary as it stops when it goes down. So you can put them in if you want to, but it is not necessary at all. You can then take and make sure that your airbags are all the way down. And you're going to take your springs and insert them in like so with this bottom flap facing down. So we'll just put that in. We'll do the same thing with the secondary spring. Put it in, and as you can see, our airbags work perfectly. They go up and down as they should, so that's great. So next we're going to assemble our wheels and our axles. So we have our front and rear axle here. The front, as you can see, is longer than the rear axle because the front on UTAV is actually wider than the rear, which is pretty interesting. So we're going to take our front axle here. We're just going to take our first wheel and insert it. These will friction fit pretty good, so you don't probably actually need to glue this, but it is recommended that you glue it just for durability. So now we've tested those have fitted. We're going to take it, going to have our first one. We're going to take a little bit of glue, put it right here. That's a little too much. It's an oopsie on my part, but should still work fine. Just make sure it's press fit right in. We're going to continue, make sure it fits perfect. And we're going to take a little bit more glue. We're just going to do a touch That's a good amount in there, not too much. And we're going to take it, insert our axle through there, assemble this around to there, make sure it's a good fit, and just give it a quick roll, make sure it all fits good and snug. Now we're going to continue the same thing with the rear, should be the same steps. So now our underbody is dry here. As you can see, we got all our wheels glued on. Looks pretty nice, everything rolls. And so for now, we can just set this aside and move on to the next step. So the next step is going to be adding our windows and our headlights to the model. As you can see here, we have our little tiny white headlights. That one fell. Worst case scenario, you lose them, you print a few new ones. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our glue here. We're going to put a tiny amount, really small there. We're going to take the smooth side of our headlights and drop it right into there and just kind of let it sit in and make sure it's lined up in that hole. As you can see, it'll give it a nice little finish. We'll do the same thing with the other side. Little tiny drop of glue, smooth side of the headlight, and we'll just drop it right in. Now we'll sit this down for a few seconds, let it dry so they don't fall out in accident. Now that your headlights have dried, we can move on to assembling the windows. So there is a left and right window. So as you can see, they both have a nice smooth finish. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our glue, put a small amount there, small amount there, for a smooth window. They fit perfectly in there. This is our left window, so we'll put it in right there. As you can see, they fit perfectly. We'll then continue on to the front. A little bit of glue, smooth side goes in just like so. And we'll continue over to our right side. A little bit of glue, side windows, and we'll set it down, make sure everything's secured in place, and we'll let that dry for a few minutes. Now that that's dry, I want to show you a few little tips I like to use when cleaning up a body. Now obviously, when you take it off the build plate, you're going to want to remove the supports and everything, but sometimes there's some little strings and other things hanging off that we don't necessarily want to have on our body. So what we're going to do is I have this little blowtorch here. Your parents or somebody, if you're an adult, probably has one. I recommend the adult use this because that is a very hot flame. But you can buy these at I'm pretty sure I got this one at Micro Center for like $6, but you can go pretty much anywhere, probably find one of these. What you're going to do is you're going to take this and just do some light passes over the body, and that'll smoothen out any weird edges, any stringing. It'll just melt those right away, and will give you an even cleaner finish. Oop, there's a little bit of support material I missed. And give you an even cleaner finish to your already clean model. This will make it look a little bit better. It'll melt any weird edges. Just be sure you don't leave it in one place too long, otherwise it will warp and melt material. But as you can see, all our stringing that we had is gone, and we can continue building. All right, so our next step is going to be installing the spikes. Now the front spikes have a flat spot that you're supposed to print them on. It is kind of weird because you're supposed to print these spikes vertical, these spikes flat, but there's a reason because of how they're laid out. But they should fit as shown, and the red little front spikes have a little flat spot. So what we're going to do is have them facing the black part up, and they're going to put flat spot, and they should fit right along that front edge. If we put up against there, it'll fit right along there. So what we're going to do is take our glue, and we are going to put, the smallest amount of glue. We're talking tiny amounts. Now, as you can see, that's still a pretty big glob. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the front and two front spikes, and we're going to rub them together to even out that glue across them. As you can see, we have an even coat of glue on both of them. So without letting this one touch the mat here, be sure you don't get stuck to your finger like I just did. We're then going to take our one front one, place it on here like so with the top parts facing up, and be sure it's sticking there. Now we're going to take our other side and do the exact same thing, just like so. Oops. Make sure it's up against it. Might take some fiddling. And perfect. So we're just going to let that sit for a few minutes to dry. Once that's done drying, we're going to continue to the back spikes here. As you can see, there's little indents that these spikes will fit right up in here like so. Now you want to make sure you don't go up all the way because we want to leave space for our tool holder to fit in. So what we're going to do is just take an extremely small amount of glue and place it along here. Now we're going to take our spike holder, make sure the black part is facing up. As you can see, I missed a little bit, so we're just going to get that nice and rubbed out. We're just going to make sure that sticks into that gap, just like so. We're going to leave a little overhang. Oops, I accidentally just hit it, messed it up. There we go. Nice, good press. And then we're going to let that one dry. Once that one's dry, we'll move over to the other one. Alright, so now that our spikes front and back are mounted, we're going to move on to our little brim here. So this is our skirt. This is the front that fits on just like so. Back fits on like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of glue. We're going to go along the rough side that was on your build plate. And I actually can't tell which side. I think it was this side. Take a, whoa, that was way too much. But take a small amount. Trying to err towards the inside, if you can, just like that. And you should end up with a nice little glazed texture around. This is the back, so we're going to take this, carefully flip it around, and we're just going to set it on there like so. Make sure every corner is lined up, so we'll go around to this side, line it up. Might take some adjusting here and there. It won't be a perfect fit, but should leave you with an overall nice looking brim. Just gonna move it a little bit more. Fit this on like so. Move it around a little bit. And there we go. We have a nice, oops. Moved on accident. We'll just take it back off and replace it. It's okay. Might take some trial and error, but okay, I think we're all lined up now. So we're nice and lined. Oh, and I just moved it. Don't touch it. Once it's lined up, don't touch it. Okay. Now we're lined up. So we're gonna let that dry for a few minutes. We'll come back to it. Now we're going to move on to the front, so we'll do the same thing. From the rough side, put a really little, tiny amount of glue, just like so. Alright, and then take it, we're going to put it down and on. Get it lined up. Pretty good. So you can see it fits right around. So we'll set that down and let it dry for a few minutes. Now that that's dry, as you can see, we have a really nice little outer brim here. Again, you can print out TPU if you want, but it should turn out pretty nice. So next we are going to do, actually going to set it back on there. We're going to do some of our frontal details here. Now we have a winch that we can install, just like so. Should fit in like that, I believe. So we'll take our glue it in, and we'll fit it in just like so. just like that. Fits in. That'll sit nice in there. Then we're going to add our front headlight here. A little bit of glue there. This is our front bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, there's a little angled side there. So once we put our glue, we're going to put that facing down, insert it into this bigger slot. As you can see, it fits just right in. Leaves nice, sits right in. It's great. Now for the upper one, it's kind of the same way, but there's no slot. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add a small amount of glue across the top of the headlights. Make sure that angled part is facing like so. And we're just going to stick it to where it's sitting right on top of those headlights there. So as you can see, fits right on. So we'll sit that down, let it all dry for a few minutes. Now our model is really coming together, so we just have a few more steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our right mirror, put it on just a tiny dab of hot glue, just like so. And we're going to take, this is our right one, so we're going to take our right hole here and just stick it into that hole. Now it's a little bit of a loose fit, but that's to account for all printers, so the tolerances are right. So we're going to let that sit in there. We can even sit it down, move it around, just like so. And now when you have a position you like it, you just let it sit for a few minutes. Alright, so now that all is dried up, we are going to now take our chassis and install it to the UTAV. So as you can see, this is our front piece here. It fits down and it will almost look like it slides back in. So you can see we'll do a little test fit here, make sure everything looks right. And we'll take our glue once again here. And this time, for once, we're actually going to use a lot of glue. So these two little platforms here and here are all going to get lathered with glue. Just like that. Bunch of glue. So then we're going to take our front, fit it back in, give it a nice press, make sure it looks centered and good to you. And then we are going to let that dry for another few minutes, just to be sure everything is stuck. You can even take some glue and set it down in there if you want, just to give it a little extra adhesion, but it's not needed, so just let that sit for a few minutes. Alright, so now this is probably mostly dry. As you can see, we can have a pretty functional system. So our airbags go down, come back out. There we go. Rolls around really nice. So we're going to go on to the last few steps, which is inserting our flaps. As you can see, they friction fit really nice up into these slots. And they won't fall out. They might wear out eventually, but for now, they work perfect. Now you're also going to want to install your spikes at this point. They may end up being a little loose, but they should fit quite nicely. Again, you can use toothpicks to your desires. It really doesn't matter. We'll insert our one back there. Oops, bumped the camera. And another one. Oh, that one's too loose. So that's not a huge deal, but it's what it'll look like. You can have your spikes. And we're also going to want our spike tool holder. Like I showed at the beginning of the video, you can cut out your own little toothpick or little cocktail spike if you want. We're going to put a little bit of glue there. You can rub it around a bit. Just going to insert that. And then we'll let that dry for a few seconds. So that should pretty much be it for our build video here with UTAV. As you can see, it is a beautiful model. You got all these nice little scale details while also being pretty simple and easy to build. Now, like I said, everything works, so I'll give you a little demonstration. So airbags go down, our flaps go down. As you can see, it seals nicely to the ground. And we can also put our little spikes out here. Put those down that side, down, and yeah, it's just really nice. And you can do intercepts with it, whatever. This is actually a lot more durable than Tip 2, so it's probably actually better to do stuff like that with. But, um, but yeah, so anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was helpful. Like, subscribe, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Hope you guys have a good day. See you later.